Hey, how's everybody going? This is the Tokyo Shemp Show. Get the AC rattling. I'll try to minimize that sound. I'm an AFB, so that sort of thing is something I look out for. It's an Indian summer kind of day. I hope that isn't racist. I should probably fact check, why do we say Indian summer? Since we do say it a lot, I'll just assume it's okay to say it. Apologies in advance if I shouldn't have. Today's show will be similar to the one in which I exposed fake name Misty Winston from the Jimmy Dore ecosystem. I exposed her posing as a Marie from Georgia, calling up 2 fault lines. On today's show, I will reveal that fake name Alexandra, whatever she was going by, has become a fake whistleblower to the Seder Majority Report of the Jimmy Dore ecosystem. They don't name names, they don't go into Convo Couch or Poinkin' Frank Analysis, or even others that I personally made sure to connect the dots. Say with that Deb Della Piana woman, she was going on with someone called Dave Denton, independent progressive or something like that, and they were buddies with Redneckonomics. So if you ever saw the STFU woman from Boston, Deb Della Piana, she's using a real name, a real nasty woman posing as an activist. She's in on it. I looked at a little bit of my older videos on the ecosystem from the playlist system I have going from, I think, 2021 part 1. I started watching my 5-minute videos. It makes sense. I got it done. I got it all that was needed to be done to seal the deal. I'm going to track down, share like a rerun at the end of this. After I go over this fake call with Allie, I'm going to run down the thing where she blurted out Majority Report. It was an incredible lucky break for myself, but the internet's rigged, so no matter what I come up with, it just doesn't matter. I came up with great stuff on Brett Kammerland, and it got turned into a militarized alternate reality game. It was all fiction. The only thing real was myself getting a scoop and then sued by Brett Kammerland, the Speedway bomber. True story. I'm still ticking. I'm still here. I'm the winner. I got the Jimmy Dore ecosystem in embers. They're done. I ruined them. I exposed them. They're finished. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful feeling to complete something. Putting my stamps on hold, putting my laundry on hold right now, putting this and that on pause, and I'm going to show those things. So let's get right to it. I'm doing a little bit of audio right now. I'm mailing this in, so don't expect miracles. But for those with a little bit of gumption, if you're not yet 100% conformist, brain dead, then this is great stuff. You're going to love it. And I appreciate you for recognizing the independent beauty of the shite I produce. Yeah, I'm trying to be an artist, that type of thingy. So without further ado, let's take a listening to Allie McBeal. No, I forget her fake last name. But it's the same woman. I'll show her clips from when she was on those shows. She started out at Hard Lens Media. It's all fake. Look at how Farron ended up in it like it was nothing. It's all fake. I exposed them. Their chats were based on Ebon Kim. He said, give them all wrenches. All that crap going on in 2017 on fake rigged Zoom sessions. That evolved into these losers reading off the teleprompters who I busted, exposed, And not only did I expose them as scripted, I showed that they're junkies falling apart in real life, in real time, in front of everyone else. And I got through to them, good luck to you. You know who you are. Good luck to you. Oh, and before I forget, Sam Seder, Emma Eglin, those are paid fakes. Those are rat snitches. If there is a true anonymous, if there is true anything out there, then everything I've said, or nearly a lot of it, would be confirmed, would be looked at as conspiracy factual or scientific. Conspiracy science is, I'm not sure if I'm the first to coin that phrase, but I do know that mere days and weeks after I developed a conspiracy science show shtick, up pops a thumbnail for the Rock FBI Wake Up They're So Radical show. Consensus science. What a coincidence. It's such a coincidence they're flapping their arms. Man, months after I started doing that Tai Chi thing, they look like idiots. I suckered them. I didn't even know they were doing that until a week or two ago. And now that I do, I'm thinking, how pathetic can they go? So that's enough rambling on. I'm the winner. Those people, I judge them. I have, like, God behind me. I have truth and the creator force and the autism. All that stuff has made me invincible. That's how one person was able to beat on thousands of military shills. So spread the word. Know your audience, of course, too. You want to spread the word to one of those jackarses who are involved in it. Or with a conformist pick. The woke. I'm not talking about CIA style woke, but the woke. They're a tough audience too. Very susceptible to becoming tools of the state apparatus, tools of the social containment officers. This has been Tokyo Shemp News and Entertainment Network, the winner, the king of super trolls, the cyber sleuth, the philosopher, writer, thinker, philosopher, that might be the same, artiste, stamp collector, or philatelist, the classier way of putting it. I'm digressing, and I already ended the show anyway. This was basically bonus material. Okay, thanks for your time and understanding. Take care. Good luck to everyone but Steve Poinkin. That's like a take on his stupid line. He would say, good luck to all of us, or may God save us. Something nutty. And lately I've been going, how's everybody going? And the other day he went, how's everybody doing? So F them, their mimicry doesn't fool me. They get next to no page views except from the other military shells in their robot system. They're the losers. People don't believe in wound up, unbelievable crap garbage. Reality doesn't work that way. You're demented morons. I'm speaking directly to the military-industrial complex. You are demented morons afflicted with authoritarian personality disorder. You're the kooks, you're the trolls, you're the nutjobs, you're the worst people in the world. Good luck with that.
I figured I'd call in about another fan favorite, Jimmy Dore. Now, I know you guys probably talked about Tulsi earlier, and if you didn't, or did, my bad, I'm a little late catching the show. But the other day, some old clips were popping up on my feed of Jimmy talking about Tulsi, et cetera, and then just kind of seeing, like, this whole little Jimmy Dore sphere and their world around them kind of, like, crystallize, and seeing how this is turning out has just been fascinating. And I will admit that I kind of got to know a lot of this independent, quote, independent creator space, maybe around like Force the Vote time. And I was more of like a researcher, but I ended up meeting a lot of the people like in that sphere. I never met Jimmy or anything like that. But just, it was interesting to kind of learn, like completely clueless about like who these people are and how they operate, and really just seeing like what has come of it. I mean, I criticized JD back when, that whole thing with Anna happened. So I was like completely ostracized from that crowd since. I was even told like, if you criticize him, it's kind of like biting the hand that feeds you. So I kind of realized like I needed to exit. But my long-winded story short is that I really appreciate the show and the analysis. And if anything, I'm just angry I was way late to kind of understanding this realm. So thank you.
I don't know if you've ever seen the exchange I had with Jimmy in 2016. I
did.
Keep threatening to recut that too, because one of the things that's unclear when you watch it is that I had invited Jimmy on. I had emailed him the night before, and I said, "Look, I'm going to take some issue with," and that was the show that he had basically said that Peter Thiel, what difference does it make if he's on the Supreme Court?
Right.
And I'd emailed him, and he said, "No, I can't make it. Go to town." And apparently he was listening from his car to the show. And when he heard me start to talk about him, he called in. And maybe we could recut that so that we can sort of like examine that. But I'm interested in what you said about the hand that feeds you, because this is, like this, and I don't know, I don't want to get, I do a little bit of navel gazing on the show, but I one of the things that I am not good at doing, both dispositionally, but also, I probably adopted as a principle just to justify my antisocial behavior. But I don't do much of the like reciprocal guesting on shows thing.
Right.
I've never, ever been terribly comfortable doing it. And to the extent that I have always been like very careful to make sure that I'm not doing it, I probably have gone too far in the other direction in some respects. And it is the way that shows grow. You can see this on the right. You had a period of time when all these IDW people, it would just be a sort of like revolving circle jerk. Ben Shapiro would show up on Rubin's show. Rubin would show up on Shapiro's show. The Weinstein brothers would show up on Rubin's show. He would show up on their show. Sam Harris would go on their show, et cetera, et cetera. You'd see it on the, in the more like Daily Wire stuff, they'd all get together. And what would happen is, the reason why this builds an audience is because you as an audience member, you keep circling around. And not only that, you think that you're hearing different opinions, but they are all basically an extension of each other. And they're just basically, they're almost like confirming each other's bias and confirming it for an audience member. But I'm curious about the hand that feeds you, because there is also an awareness. And you see it a lot in this like sort of YouTube culture that like, I'm not going to express something because I can't afford to burn this bridge on a social level, because it's really a business relationship. And so you see it amongst those people. All those Force the Vote people were just having each other on each other's shows as a way of sort of like creating that same dynamic. And, I don't know that I went on anybody's show ever to talk about Force the Vote. I guess it's conceivable I was on somebody's show who asked me a question about it. But I just go on random shows based upon, and in terms of the people we bring in, I rarely bring in commentators on the program. We do that on Friday. And it's just sort of like a specific, it's probably antithetical to the business, any type of business, good business sense. But it just, that's what we do. But I'm curious about like, when they said, don't bite the hand that feeds you, like what context was that?
Well, the context, and again, I could call back, like it's been a few months, just because my other job, I want to maintain that. And it's not like I was this high up person or anything. I really, like I said, was more of a researcher that kind of just fell into that space. But yeah, so it was another, really mid-sized creator. He, definitely personable. A lot of these people are real personable. That's of course how they kind of, I don't want to say like get you in, but there's this kind of feeling of like, yeah, we're in this to kind of, quote, expose the truth or the other side, kind of touching on everything you were just saying. Whereas it's really just people going on other people's shows, boosting each other up, and
sometimes getting people to work for free.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then, of course, the projection, like they're grifters, they're liberal shills, and it was like, it got to a point where I was kind of like, what are we, like, this is clearly a little bit of an ecosystem here. So when I just happened to kind of start expressing with this particular group, like, hey, like what Jimmy was saying about, Anna, like, objectively, you can dislike her, like her, whatever. That's absolutely, that's not okay to say. And the pushback that I received was just like, minuscule compared to what you probably received, Emma. But I mean, I know it was, so I can't imagine going through all that. But, over time, you just kind of like, okay, it's almost like cult-like behavior. So the "don't buy the hand that feeds you" comment, the context of it was, my criticism, and then it was just like a casual, it's kind of like biting the hand that feeds you. And he months later realized, like, oh shit, like she didn't actually forget that comment. And it's like, no, I still want to know, what does that mean? Who's feeding me? Jimmy Dore was never feeding me.
Yeah.
Never said.
Well,
ever.
Well, Jordan, I am curious too about, because the thing that tipped me off when I was getting started, and I was probably in not the same position as you, but I started as an intern making very little money, and then I was a contractor for a long period of time. So I was precarious and much at the whims of, like, I think, my boss at the time. And I kind of, with Jimmy specifically and with this whole crowd, I kind of ignored a lot of what I felt was like misogynistic and sexist talk because I just wanted to plow ahead. And I think that was like the thing that tipped me off more than anything, because it was also really intermixed with the Hillary Clinton coverage at the time. And I felt like my approach to covering Hillary Clinton and my feelings about her were a little bit different in tone and in feel than, say, what Jimmy and others were putting out there in this very specific space where, I feel like we're kind of talking about the same area.
Definitely. No, that definitely relates to a lot of that. And just like the observations, you're like, okay, we're not really, quote, that aligned here. And it just, I mean, to kind of close out, and like, maybe I will email you guys just some more interesting.
Yeah, please.
I want to look into. Yeah, I definitely will. But just to close out, just following up with the Jimmy, the policy thing for another day. But Jimmy's recent video that he did on Biden lying about abortion, for whatever reason, again, it's like, I know this man's videos are going to annoy me, so I rarely watch them. But that one I had to. And to hear this guy just get on there talking about how, Biden and the Democrats are lying about abortion, it's not going to be a national ban. And it's like, you can't even do the due diligence on that of just mentioning the Lindsey Graham aspect. And so, again, this isn't news to anybody in the audience, nor, not even news to me, but it's just remarkable. And I wonder when this grift or this jig, whatever it is, will finally run its course. It's so obvious.
He's already basically said, like, you should vote for Republican to harm reduction because they're better at foreign policy. So, like, it's about running its course.
COVID. And we should be clear, I mean, well, first off, it will not. It will not run its course. The only discernible change will be what has happened to Tulsi, which is that, like, she is done trolling for people on the left. That part of her career is over. The same thing that has happened in many respects with Greenwald, same thing that happened with Dave Rubin. This is the trajectory. And I anticipate that Jimmy will follow that same trajectory, frankly, because they are driven by a desire for celebrity. They're driven by a desire for money. I think there are probably other complicating factors in some of these people's lives, frankly, that not just in money in terms of, but also, like, there's other, let's say, external factors that implicate their dispositions at times. And they cannot go back, because at one point There will be no like sort of middle ground thing. Like, well, I'm not totally against the vaccine, but I'm skeptical. You know, there'll be no middle ground there. I mean, you think about the number of times that the word drones has come out of Jimmy Dore's mouth, drone attacks. And I can assure you that the number of times that word has been uttered over the past 2 years is, somewhere hovering around nil in the context of what Joe Biden has done. Because Joe Biden has very quietly, not completely, but very, very dramatically cut down on the clandestine and the semi-clandestine use of drone attacks in places like Pakistan, in Afghanistan, to the extent that we were involved in it in Yemen or Somalia. They're just been and tightened both as a decision-making process and in terms of like a systemic, process in the government, tighten the rules on engagement in that way and just cut down on the numbers dramatically. Now, what's happening in Ukraine, people can argue like this is a proxy war, and I think that's an arguable, I think that's, to some extent at this point it is on some level a proxy war, but it also is in defense of a country that has been invaded. I mean, it's just like there is no territorial ambition by Ukraine beyond disputed areas that were once Ukraine when it gained its independence. And so, it's sort of fascinating that way. But I guess my point is that at one point, Jimmy's going to find that his clicks, he can't go to the anti-vax stuff. He can't go to this, that his audience, maybe there'll be another candidate like Hillary Clinton who, while I was no fan, it's undeniable that there was a 30-year cottage industry in developing, hatred towards her. Maybe that can be aroused in the same level, in 2024 if there's a rerun of that. But, he's to do a thing saying that the Democrats are lying about Republicans having an ambition for a federal abortion ban is borderline bizarre. Yeah. And that's not, he's not talking to leftists there. He's not talking, there's nobody who is rational in their thinking that is in any way inclined to see the end of Roe being anything other than a tragedy and a travesty that is going to buy into that narrative. He is talking to, at the very least, sort of like libertarians and then to the right. So that's basically it. So.
Yes, definitely. Well, thanks, guys. I will definitely send you guys an email and appreciate what you do. And talk soon. Thanks again.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
That was interesting.
Yes. I am curious.
I am also curious.
And I won't say 98. I won't say 99. I won't say 99. I'll say 98 because there's another one which I just did where they broke out a lot of good information on Christopher Columbus and going into the book by De La Casas. And so, and now granted, this was 6 years ago when they did this, but they can have, a broken clock can be right. What is it? Twice a day.
Yeah, I remember when Seder Majority Report used to have on the guy who passed away. I like him.
Oh,
the one who passed away. He was on.
So he knows about this. He knows about it.
Michael. No. Yeah, Michael something. Michael Parenti? No. Michael something. But he was on Majority Report for a while. He passed away. I think he got sick and he passed away. He was funny. I know you're talking about. Yeah, he was funny. I watch Majority Report because you can get information. I'm like, what are these guys talking about over here? It's not that I love Sam Cedar.
It's funny. Baba says this. Farrakhan condemned Khalid. Really. Yeah. You know why he condemned him? Because Farrakhan is trying to play nice with the elites. Yeah. I mean, if you ask me, honestly, believe you guys can say I'm wrong, but I believe he took part. I believe he took part in Malcolm X's in his murder. I think he had something to do with it. Shit. So I don't really take a lot of what Farrakhan says with that much validity.
There's little compounds out here in Southwest Michigan.
Michael Brooks, yes.
Oh,
exactly.
Michael Brooks, my bad.
Thank
okay,
you.
yeah.
You know, a broken clock can be right. What is it? Twice a day.
Yeah.
I remember when
Sam Seder,
Majority Report used to have on the guy who passed away.
Yeah, I remember when Majority Report used to have on.
Yeah.
I remember when
Sam Seder,
Majority Report used to have on.
Yeah, I remember when Majority Report used to have.
They do more preparing and researching than I do. They have their slides all ready together. They be breaking it down like you going to a professional college lecture. We be like, okay, all right, get this in my head, get this in my head. All right, let's just go.
Because I can't get it in my head, so I gotta have it up front of me. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Though.
I mean, we just and me you guys want to know what my secret is? Tokyo Shimp thinks I'm some kind of typewriter. No, it's not. What it is I work a job where a lot of times I'm doing manual labor that doesn't require a lot of thinking. So I can afford to put on a lecture and listen to a professor talk about X for a couple of hours. When most people are checking out the game, I might have it on in the background, but I'm listening to a lecture. Or researching, or reading the Bible, or reading history. I don't have a life. I don't even go out. So that's why I'm just always studying. So that's why it's no magic secret. It's just studying. That's all.
Exactly.
No, literally. Emails and phone calls.
Chris knows. It's a lot. I send you a lot of shit, don't I?
Yeah.
It's like one day I'll be at work and Sab's like, I'll look at my text and I'm like, oh shit, there's like 20 documents. I'm like, oh, just
people don't know. Like, you know how many news outlets I listen? You know how many news outlets I go throughout the week?
Right.
I literally probably go through about 50 different news outlets, looking over which stories I want to cover and looking at the stories from multiple perspectives.
Yep.
It just depends, yeah. It depends on like where the information leads or like what, like I don't know. It's like random. It's just whatever I'm interested in.
If you got pride in what you do, you're gonna try to make sure that you present it the best way you can, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've always been that way though, with especially like presentations or writing stuff like that. I like to be like clear and concise as possible as far as presenting an argument.
Believe it or not, I follow this tenement to the Bible, literally. It says every man, which we're throwing women also, teach at your own ability. And so, this is my ability, that's their ability, this is Chris' ability, so we just gotta give it to you. Everybody just teach at their own ability, whatever they know.
Anyone who goes on these shows is COINTELPRO. This is an extensive program put together by FBI, Homeland Security, Five Eyes, NSA, Air Force, you name it, all the so-called intelligence. This is their baby. They own all dialogue. They establish the parameters. They set up what is discussed. Shocking, but true. So anyone who goes on these shows is rigged. You can watch any of them and watch how scripted they are. They can no longer hide that they're scripted because I exposed it. So it's in a TikTok mode. I'm unedited, I'm unscripted. I may be lightly edited if it has to happen. But for the most part, this is all original, in tune, in rhythm, shtick. There's a weird intro by Jardula. Just want to show that.
Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. Pastor Jarduli here, and we have a special panel today. Of course, my co-host Fiorella Isabella is here live and in from Moscow. But we have two great guests today. We thought we would do the show because we wanted to add some clarity and kind of highlight the importance of what just happened in Colombia. Today, we have with us two people who are going to be part of the panel. Raul Barbano, who just led a delegation there, along with Terry Matson, too, as well, from Code Pink, who was actually denied entry into the country when we went to observe the election. There's a lot of kind of confusion to what's going on. So we're going to shed some light today with an amazing panel. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. Thank you, Raul, Terry, and, of course, Fee.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
All right. So
I think that sounded crazy. Now watch his eyes as he's clearly scripted. I notice everything, but I'm trying to quit putting together this sort of video. For example, I noticed that they're having one person speak for a long time, similar to Jimmy Dore does that. He'll just delete everyone else and just talk. That way you don't see the other people. They can study their lines while the other chump was studying their lines or is playing teleprompter. The thing that's so bizarre about it is it fits those Snowden documents, which fit the books. The book by George Orwell, 1984. It fits. It's a match. It's a bingo. We have bingo. Before we get to the real part of this show, which is going to be a movie, an interactive movie. For that, I'll just show some photos from a different show. You can see the script reflecting off of the guest's glasses. They said it was a doctor, but you look into it and he's a fake doctor, holistic, fake. Maybe they're part of that Smith-Munt revision law. Now people who aren't doctors can claim they are. I don't know. There's a lot of disinfo going on. They're all tied to the hip. I proved that they're scripted. Now that it's out there that they're scripted, their page counts, their participation it dropped. It already dropped. Even before any of this, they've been getting hammered on through all the years. You take away Julian Assange, you throw him in prison. You have military shills faking as the Assange support. Then you know this is a Big Brother Orwell situation, Orwellian. So I'll just throw that right in there, those pictures right there. You can see that the shite's bouncing right off the glasses. There's no thought put into this program. It's heavy-handed. Maybe without Snowden, maybe Snowden did greatness. But I'm saying, well, who the hell was Snowden talking about? And I'm saying, here's some of them. I proved it. Here they are. And on that note, let's go to the show. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, start. Before we get into the show, actually, that's the same guy. The same way that Darren Franzak was matched up with that other lady, Margaret Ann. I forget the name. That radio talk host on with Mike Wallace. So it's this different brain, same soul. That's Craig Jardula right there. Same guy. Amazing. It's late in the evening. Whoa, wasn't expecting that. I was not. Oh, you can't hear him. I can hear him right now, somehow. I have the headphones plugged in. Alright, it's off now. Phew. Sorry about that. They look very similar. The looks carry over. Oh, I forgot. Another thing I forgot was it's very late. It's almost 2 a.m. I'm caught up on stamps. I had some free time, so I'm gonna quit. I'm quitting watching them because there's nothing left to do with them. I'm saying that those are the same guy. Not the same guy, same spirit. Same weasel. Lou Costello, the little guy. About 2 minutes left of this. I think chicks really held themselves together well back in the day. Well, she looks kind of like a lush. There's a fake doctor behind them. Bud Abbott. I get the names mixed up. Oh look, it's they're so radical on the left. John F. O'Donnell. People are thinking that's a call for an uprising. They're like two sides of the same disinfo coin. You got O'Donnell making fun of the Christians and vice versa. Someone like myself who isn't Christian, who's more of an academic thinker type, that type of human doesn't fit into the parameter of debate. That's what is meant by what is allowed. Adrian Lamo. They found him with the Project Vigilant sticker on his body. That's interesting. They're the people who went after me. They're called Project Vigilant. And I was victimized by the government program. It's run by someone named Chet Uber. I'm not making any of it up. There are even remnants out there, I bet. And there were thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe a bit, hard amount of time. Maybe not that many, but there are people out there who witnessed all that garbage crap stuff.